One of the things that's hard about reading the Bible is keeping everything straight, because this event depicted in this 1860 woodcut, Shimei curses David, is something you probably don't even remember because it's been several days or weeks since we've talked about it. This represents David in the middle, going out of Jerusalem as Absalom is about to make war against him, and he is being cursed by Shimei over there on the left. Now, that I found at Wikipedia, and one of the interesting things here is that you go to this Wikipedia page and you read about Shimei, a Benjamite of Bahurim, son of Gera, a man of the family of the house of Saul. So Shimei was related to Saul, as of course is Mephibosheth. And then they give you the link to Shimei's first appearance, which we read about earlier this semester. And this reminds you of who Shimei is. When King David came to Bahurim, a man of the family of the house of Saul came out, whose name was Shimei, son of Gera. He came out cursing. He threw stones at David and at the servants of King David. Now all the people and all the warriors were on his right and on his left. Shimei shouted while he cursed, "Out, out, murderer, scoundrel! The Lord has avenged on all of you the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned. And the Lord has given the kingdom into the hand of your son Absalom. See, disaster has overtaken you, for you are a man of blood." Now remember, Saul's relatives would have been devastated that the kingdom passed from the house of Saul to the house of David, and they're blaming David for this. Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said to the king, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over and take off his head." But the king said, "What have I to do with you, sons of Zeruiah? If he is cursing, because the Lord has said to him, 'Curse David,' who then shall say, 'Why have you done so?'" David said to Abishai and to all his servants, "My own son seeks my life. How much more now may this Benjaminite?" Saul was from the tribe of Benjamin. "Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Lord has bidden him. It may be that the Lord will look on my distress, and the Lord will repay me with good for this cursing of me today." So David and his men went on the road, while Shimei went along on the hill opposite him and cursed as he went, throwing stones and flinging dust at him. The king and all the people who were with him arrived, weary, at the Jordan, and there he refreshed himself. Well, they're at the Jordan again. Now, crossing the Jordan is how the people of Israel originally came into the promised land, and the waters of the Jordan parted for Joshua and the people of Israel way back when they first came into the promised land. The book of Joshua recounts this, similar to the way the waters of the Red Sea part when they're fleeing from Pharaoh. So crossing the Jordan to leave his kingdom, we see earlier in 2 Samuel when David is being pursued. Now David, victorious, is returning to his kingdom and crosses over the Jordan, and the same sort of scene plays itself out. Shimei is back again. 2 Samuel 19:16 through, this is 16, so we got to go to it. Hang on. Okay, I found it. So this is what we read today. David is returning and crossing the Jordan. Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjaminite from Bahurim, hurried to come down with the people of Judah to meet King David. With him were 1,000 people from Benjamin, and they're making peace with David. These are the people from the tribe of Saul. And Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, with his 15 sons and 20 servants, rushed down to the Jordan ahead of the king, while the crossing was taking place, to bring over the king's household and to do his pleasure. Shimei, son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was about to cross the Jordan, and he said to the king, "May the Lord not hold me guilty, or remember how your servant did wrong on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem. May the king not bear it in mind. I'm sorry I threw rocks at you and cursed you. For your servant knows that I have sinned. Therefore, see, I have come this day, the first of all the house of Joseph, to come down to meet my lord the king," meaning the first from the northern kingdoms. He's pleading for his life, because now that the king has been restored, what's he going to do? Off with his head. However, Abishai the son of Zeruiah answered, "Shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed?" But David said, and this is an echo of what he said back in chapter 16, "What have I to do with you, sons of Zeruiah, that you should today become an adversary to me?" The Hebrew word is Satan, that you today should become a Satan to me. "Shall anyone be put to death in Israel this day? For do I not know that I am this day king over Israel?" The king said to Shimei, "You shall not die." And the king gave him his oath. Now, I could give you a wonderful talk today about the mercy of King David, who in his suffering forgives Shimei, as he forgave him when he was leaving his kingdom. He now forgives him as he's coming back. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? We could really look up to David, and we could really say, maybe he's learned from all of his suffering. Maybe he's learned mercy, which is at the heart of God himself. But here in Wikipedia, they point something out. First Kings, this is the next book we will read if you take future semesters with me. David is on his deathbed. David is talking to his son Solomon and telling Solomon what to do after he, David, dies. "There is also with you Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjaminite from Bahurim, who cursed me with a terrible curse on the day when I went to Mahanaim. But when he came down to meet me at the Jordan, I swore to him by the Lord, I will not put you to death with the sword. Therefore," he tells Solomon, "do not hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man. You will know what you ought to do with him, and you must bring his gray head down with blood to Sheol." Sheol being the land of the underworld. "I swore to him I wouldn't kill him, son. I'm dying now. You know what to do."
It's almost like the mafia. You know, I made a promise. I promised Muzzy, because I forgave him after the big battle, that I wouldn't do anything to him. But you didn't make that promise. You know what he needs. Take care of Muzzy for me.
So you might say, how is it that these heroes of the Bible behave like this? The question is not that. The question is, how is it that human beings behave like this? Okay, what do you make of all this? Tell me that in the comments.